early.
Yeah, we got up early and decided to do for school.
We've done 5 lessons.
I think we're even 3 weeks ahead.
We even did our chores this morning.
Yeah, also, I forgot, I made you breakfast. It's on the stove, it should be warm.
Wow, you guys are so sweet.
It's because you homeschool us.
Aw, love you. Thank you, guys.
Love you.
Well, good morning, beautiful.
Aw, good morning, handsome.
How's it going today?
Good. The kids are already doing their schoolwork.
I don't doubt it. They're the perfect kids and you're the perfect mom.
Well, I am a homeschool mom.
So true. Man, we have the perfect family.
We have the perfect life.
Yes! Mwah. Love it.
Whoa, oh my goodness, what was that noise?
I don't know, maybe check the kids.
Oh,
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that hate in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much.
Oh no. No, listen, if you're looking for that family, you're in the wrong RV.
yeah, we are not perfect, and we're not telling you that you have to be perfect. We just want to give you some tips and some ideas for homeschooling.
We are here for you and we're excited about sharing the information we have, the news we have. So hang tight with us and get ready to learn some exciting things and get ready to at least walk away with one little nugget that's really going to help your homeschool life. Let's do it.
We are so excited to talk to you about homeschooling. We want to give you some tips, and we also want to tell you how amazing homeschooling is and maybe even help you out a little bit if you're struggling. So the first thing we want to talk about is the goal of homeschooling.
Yes, why are you homeschooling? Listen, I don't know if you've ever seen an episode of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? But if not, you need to go watch it because it really highlights the fact that no matter how much you try, you cannot force feed kids this mass amount of information and expect them to remember it. I mean, kids value learning at different stages and they learn in different ways. When they're young, they love picking up things, they like touching, they like licking, and then they move to another stage where they're constantly asking questions. Like, this is ideal, this is how they learn. But it's at that point that we usually start squashing their creativity. Unfortunately, we sizzle their dreams out, and next thing you know, we're telling them, stop asking questions. We can't handle this, we're burnt out. And that becomes a real problem. So we want to use homeschooling as a way to hone in on what their ideal learning style is and create this exciting exploration within them.
Yeah, we want to inspire them to want to keep learning, and that's definitely the goal of doing school at home because you get to lead that. The traditional school mindset is that you have to do school from 6 to 8 hours a day, plus you have homework after that.
Yeah, and you're going to be testing.
Right.
I mean, some of these people are 50 plus tests a year in the school, so the child then just focuses on testing and not really learning.
Yeah, and really there's just not a whole lot of outside time built into the school day except for the occasional field trip and a few minutes for recess.
Yeah, and here's the good news. That does not work well for kids, and it doesn't work well for homeschooling. So you are in the right place exploring this homeschool idea. But you will have to change your mindset because you're gonna push yourself too far. You're gonna stress yourself out. You're gonna stress your kids out if you try to recreate the traditional school setup in a homeschool environment. Not only is it ineffective in general, but it's gonna be very ineffective in a homeschool environment. So don't try to do that. Just come into this knowing you have to change that mindset. And again, answer that first question. Why are you homeschooling? Well, everything can filter through that. And it really should be to just reignite that desire for kids to learn and get excited about that natural exploration that they had when they were toddlers and they lost somewhere along the way.
With homeschooling, you can really focus on the child's ideal way of learning, and we'll talk about this more later, but when you're customizing their curriculum, you can just focus on how your child learns best.
Yeah, and again, when you find out what their unique style is, then you can aim that curriculum there, and then that just really energizes that exploratory learning that really makes homeschooling easy and breezy and more like stacking Lego bricks and less like pulling teeth, I think.
Oh, there you go.
That's
good.
important.
If you try to model your homeschooling experience after traditional school, that is the quickest way to fail. You want to model that towards what your kids need, and you will be successful.
That really is the beauty of homeschooling, being able to focus in on the unique characteristics of your kids and how they learn. And that's what we want to share some tips on today. We want to get you set up to have an amazing homeschool experience. Okay, first let me address a couple of fears that normal people have when they start homeschooling. And the first one, in light of 2020, is homeschooling just like distance learning that I experienced in 2020?
Not at all. No, a lot of people struggled with distance learning. It was really difficult for your child to be sitting in front of a computer for so many hours of chaos, right? No, this is not it at all. You get to be in charge of what your kid learns, and you get to determine the hours and how it goes, and it is really great, and you're gonna find out that it's actually a lot easier than you think. Okay, the next fear is, I'm not a teacher. Am I qualified to teach my kids?
And the answer is yes. Fortunately, studies have shown, and I'll link these below, that your level of education does not have anything to do with how far your child will go. So fortunately, because homeschooling in general is about creating an experience for your kids to learn, to love learning, then you don't have to have all the education.
When you use curriculum, the lessons will actually teach the kids for you. You don't have to come up with anything on your own. You just follow along with the book. So sometimes it'll even say, teacher says this, child says this. So you just have to follow along with the curriculum, and your kids will learn what they need to know. Another fear that we've heard a lot is people concerned, I'm not good at math, or I don't know much about science. How am I going to teach my kids that?
Those are very good concerns, because you kind of think that when your child brings you the problem and says, I don't know what I'm doing here, you have to solve it. The good news is there are so many great resources out there, from YouTube to other online software, and again, even the resource of the curriculum, that will give you the answers you need to know as you move along. That's another reason why we use curriculum, is because it has answers for you. If we were just to randomly choose something, we might get so deep in there that we're like, I don't know what's going on. But with the curriculum, you're following along, it gives you the answers, so that if you don't know how you got there, you can do that. Or again, you can watch the video to give you some insight from a remote teacher giving you that information.
Another fear that we hear a lot is, are my kids gonna fall behind?
There's a good chance they will. No, I'm just kidding. Really, actually, the bottom line is there's always a chance that your child might excel in one subject and not in the other one, or they might not like something, or they might get behind. What's the worst that can happen? If they get to a point where they are enjoying life and they are loving learning, but they're a little bit further behind than their peers, it doesn't matter. The desire to learn is way more important than cramming something down their throat right now that they have to know, because they're not going to retain it and they're going to hate learning. So the next stage will be even worse, whether it's in public school, private school, or homeschool. It doesn't matter. If you squash their desire to learn, if you put that flame out, it will just ruin their desire to learn from that point on, and it will be a nightmare for them in school. So take it slow, don't worry about trying to make it happen, and if they get behind, it's okay. Let that experience be something they love, but traditionally, you're gonna find out, typically you're gonna find that homeschoolers excel way more than their peers in almost every subject at some point in that schooling career. So you don't have to worry about it, but don't stress out over it.
And if they are taking their curriculum and they are completing it throughout the year, then they're gonna know what they need to know for that grade level. So when you start at the beginning of 4th grade and you go through the whole way, that's what they need to know, so you don't have to be concerned that they're not getting all the information for that grade level.
Good point, and that brings us back to curriculum. When you have a book that you're going on and you complete the book in the time allotted, then you feel really good knowing, okay, we are on par with this. But again, in every subject, if you're going to try to do that, it can be very overwhelming. So we'll give you more details on that, but pick a few, stick to that book, and then you know what you've gotten done, and you know if you're getting behind or a little bit ahead, either way.
Something that we do to make sure that our kids are up to the standards of the state is just look up what is required for them to know in that grade level. And one of the resources we use is greatschools.org.
Now you got to be careful, because when we talk about the standard that you want to have, or the standard the state wants you to have, or what other schools, I mean, there's so many things that you can compare yourself to, and I would say homeschooling is most successful over the long haul. For instance, if you give your child the freedom to learn more about what they're interested in right now and less about covering every single subject, then in year 1 and 2, they might not be as good at math, but they're really excelling in science. And then year 3 and 4, they might really excel in math because their brain has developed and their desire to learn math has developed. And so over that 5-year period, they might excel in everything and it kind of comes up. But if you're just doing it for a year or two and you give that freedom, then you might find it frustrating because they're behind in this or above on that. But again, the goal is that they desire to learn. And so if you make them learn this right now, but then the rest of it's like pulling teeth every time you go to do school, it's not going to be worth it. So anyway, use these resources as a benchmark, but don't use them as a complete rule that you have to follow. We are so excited that we had this opportunity to be together and to share our experience. We want to hear from you.
Yes, please reach out to us on social media, because we want to hear about your questions, but really we want to hear about your successes. We want to know what you guys have done and what you found that works.
Right, and did you fail? You know, we want to know that too. It's really important.
Right, okay.
All right, collect your notes. Let's do some homeschooling and raise some thrivers.